So, good morning, everyone. New week, new market to analyze, and it's time for us to dig into the charts and do our Monday market analysis like every Monday. So, good day to you. Hope you had a great weekend. If you're watching live on YouTube, Twitch, or watching the recording. So let's dig into it because I got the feeling it's gonna be a rough ride this week. Quickly starting at the calendar of the events. Today nothing really happening there. Tuesday, tomorrow at US market open we got the inflation rate coming out. Obviously they are looking to rise quite a bit, and they might even turn out a bit worse than expected. Will this be good for crypto? Hard to say. Fundamentally, it's good for Bitcoin because it's a deflationary asset. But we have to see how the market reacts if they turn out worse than expected. And Wednesday, we got the producer price inflation numbers. Actually, that means how much the producers are raising the prices, and that's usually like a front runner to the consumer inflation prices. For the rest, nothing really. We got some ECB interest rate decisions coming that might impact the DXY a bit. Jobless claims, but no real big things. So watch out Tuesday at market open for the inflation numbers, and Wednesday at US market open for the PPYs. For the rest, a quiet week on that account, but look what's happened here. The DXY US dollar currency index, how does the dollar do compared to a basket of other currencies? Mainly the euro, the yen, and some others. It's doing much better than the rest of the currencies, that's for sure. It's almost breaking that. It broke that 100 magical number, and it's trying to push further as we speak. Usually when the DXY is going up, all the other assets that are denominated in dollars are going a bit down. So keep that in mind. That might distort your price feeling a bit, and it's hard to say if we will push through here. We're above this zone, we might backtest it and continue up. Dollar's looking good. Euro is doing probably much worse because of the whole geopolitical situation there. So DXY seems to be breaking out up, and that's usually a bad price for the Bitcoin price expressed in dollars. Stock markets will take a look in a bit, but you see the general idea here already. Stock markets just made their third lower high, and they were already making lower lows, and Bitcoin is essentially doing the same. And we even breaking on the SPX 500, the white line is the 200-day simple moving average. We even got getting rejected there and seem to be dipping further. So that does not look really good there. Again, we'll take a look at it in a bit. Gold still hanging on there. It's starting to bottom at this critical previous resistance. Is now confirmed as support. You see it was, if we quickly draw a horizontal line here where it's bouncing, you see it was resistance here. It broke through but it failed here, broke through but it failed there. So pretty strong rejections of breaking that price level. It was resistance here, support here briefly in the August 20 peak, and as you know, if we zoom out, this is the handle of a decade-long cup and handle. But I've been talking about that for pretty much the whole year, so that shouldn't be any news. So gold looking good. If we can break that 90.70, 90.75, we should see 2050 and higher again. And I'm still waiting for a big breakout above this level. And this could be the start of completion of the handle. Could take a while, obviously. But still, long-term outlook for gold is very good chart-wise. Last low was even around 1775-ish. And the 200-day simple moving average is at 1830 at the moment. So even if it bounces back, if it backtests that 200-day SMA, we're still making a higher low there. My already famous end of January scribbly. So far we made that low, we bounced up, we had a pullback, and we are at pretty much critical levels here to hold. We'll get into that in a bit. Still on track for this crazy on the fly scribbly prediction that everyone is hoping to be reality. Quickly looking, MACD is flattening out on the daily. We do, as long as we actually hold this 37,700-ish, if we don't go below there, there is bullish hidden divergence in the making here. Even on the RSI, I think it's the same if I quickly look at it. So TA wise, we did have that bearish Gartley and Cypher on the daily. That has played out, and we're now at a very critical support level that if we can manage to hold at 42k, that would be really, really awesome. But we'll take a look at that in a bit. BTC dominance dropped a bit, seems to be making so far. Haven't broke the lower lows yet. Still pretty much going sideways, so not really alt season yet. Obviously, we had some nice alt runs last week or 2 weeks ago, and last week just a bit, but definitely not alt season at all yet. Ethereum to Bitcoin, it backtested critical levels and almost the 200 SMA. We're still at the going to the apex of this very long structure, and I should expand the lines a bit further by now. We seem to have broke back into the inner triangle, backtested it, and now trying to bounce. So interesting to follow that. Longs keep getting closed a bit, no big build-up of shorts, so that's a good sign. Total market cap pretty much the same, a bit worse than Bitcoin itself. We see we broke this previous resistance here, but as long as we don't go below that 1.66-ish trillion, we still are making a higher low on totals. Quickly looking at stock futures in detail. Trend momentum is in the red and developing. No sign of any divergence yet. We are holding at the ATR. Trend on the daily is pretty much flat, pretty much sideways, no discernible breakouts yet. But not really looking good in today's futures, already down 0.6%, so let's see if that can continue. Dow Jones looking even worse, like you see here that the S&P 500 just made a slightly higher high than this previous double top, but it's now losing it again. But the Dow Jones never even reached those levels of that double top from February, and it's just continuing to fall down. We did kind of backtest this descending trend line, but yeah, the follow-up price action has been very poorly and underperforming, so could be a bull flag. Yeah, not really with that dump in between. We might get a bit of a bounce back to these levels during the week, but as long as we don't break this level, then it still looks bearish, in my opinion. We do have a count 8 today, so tomorrow is 9. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be potential reverse zone of interest. And one thing to watch in those zones is the trend momentum, the green reddish wave here. You see if that flips around that potential reverse zone, it's usually a very good sign. I measured them out here on the S&P 500 from end of the candle. When that star happened, the trend momentum flip inside a potential reverse zone. 6%, 3%, 8.8%. Perfect hits on that lately on the daily. So definitely not something to ignore there. But that's Wednesday, so yeah, today and tomorrow could be quite a push down potentially. NASDAQ, same story, pretty much a double top here. Dropping today already 1% in the minus. I think that's even worse than all the others. Yeah, so the NASDAQ is dropping the most today in the pre-market futures, and it's in count 7 also. Stock 600 European average, pretty much the same picture, lower high. We're in a bit of a range here. Since pretty much last week we pretty much went up and down within a range. We did make a bearish bearish harmonic there, bearish 5-0. The bullish crab worked out. Now we have a bearish 5-0 where we now have a backtest, confirmation lower high at the pattern completion zone, at the pattern completion zone where the potential entry is. So could definitely be more downside for the European stocks there, and not even close to ending the selling cycle here. Expecting a lower low on that one. That would mean quite a big 10% dump there. Let's see how the geopolitical stuff develops, and with the Fed interest rates and the European interest rates, how that will interact with the whole inflation sentiment. So let's look at Bitcoin here on the 4-hour. We have been following these gain lines down pretty much. The 2/1 has been resistance. The 1/1, it's been floating around that. We got rejected here. We're inside this big battle zone from history. Now seem to get another push down. So if 42k holds, and it doesn't really look like it's doing that at the moment, then it would be really good. But realistically, 40k, pretty much 40.5.41k is a very realistic next target, and after that we're talking about the high 38ish 39k probably. So I'm just going to see if I can go to the 4-hour. We do have some bullish signs here. We're entering oversold territories on the 4-hour. We have some bullish harmonics lining up, but we have to see if we get the follow-through price action that confirms those. We seem to be making a nice trigger wave here, but yeah, like I said before, the charts can look so great, but if the stock markets dump, what is the actual chance that Bitcoin will break away from that at this moment in time? Good thing is though, if you look at the weekly, there are some very important levels. If you consider this your W on the weekly, and you are now on the weekly scale backtesting that major 42k level. So far today we seem to be dropping, but not convincing yet. So pretty critical levels for stock markets and Bitcoin. Normally this is a TA's wish come through to have a W structure on the weekly at critical levels, confirming that breakout with good hook back confirmation. But we cannot trade this, we cannot be euphoric or happy until we get that bounce where we have substantial volume coming in and breaking above this previous 48k levels. Then we are probably going to see 60 to 65k very soon if that happens. But so far we are not getting that price action that we need to see in this level, and that's pretty much because of this. Stock markets dropping means so far Bitcoin also dropping. So yeah, could we see these levels again? Yeah, for sure. It would be nasty. It would be another 20% dump. But if the stock markets goes down, this will probably happen. We're probably gonna hit this battle zone here around 37, maybe even 34k-ish. But who knows, if the fundamentals of Bitcoin are better than ever in scales of adoption and structural buying from people like Michael Saylor, Terra Foundation, and a lot of other huge deals going on at the background, the over-the-counter trading that you don't actually see reacting in price. Like on daily and weekly time frames, everything is fine, everything looks good. On even the 4-hour, we are still okay-ish, as long as we don't really lose that 42k confirmed. We really do like to stay above that. So still hanging on there. It could do its magic and bounce, but doesn't look like it if we look or what the stocks are doing pre-market. S&P minus 56, 0.56, Dow Jones minus 2.7, and the NASDAQ even minus 1. Not looking that great for Bitcoin. So on the weekly scale, everything is fine until you go below pretty much 34.300-ish K. Then you're still making a higher low. but obviously on the lower time frames that's quite a dump down. And yeah, that's no surprise really if the screen loads what the alts are doing. There are some exceptions, so I can't even read what this one is. That's Cardano is a bit in the green even today, surprisingly. Oh, Vitor token, sorry, 3%. My pop-ups are lagged. The streaming live on both Twitch and YouTube is like really eating my system here. Anyway, you saw the general idea. Pretty much all the altcoins are down with a few exceptions like Ape, Zilliqa, KNC even a bit, and some other exceptions. So they are still holding on, but if we take another dump down, then they will probably also follow, and follow probably more. So if we go that route, you could obviously hedge into USDT or take a short or whatever your preference is. Just quickly looking at hedges, gold miners are looking good. We're in a bit of an ascending channel here. You could even make it a bit of a triangle shape. So the VanEck Gold Miners ETF is trying to break that 40 level. Could definitely be a very nice hedge. Junior Gold Miners, pretty much the same pattern. Sometimes one goes better than the other. I would like to see that break the 50, then it could do some magic there. Silver underperforming a bit compared to the gold miners, but also looking quite good. Just setting some alerts on that. And my recent favorite, or my favorite of the last month, the United States Oil Fund. Like we had a very nice 20% move on there. We're now seeing, after a nice steady run up, we are in accumulation zone, forming a symmetrical triangle that TA-wise has 50% chance to break up or down, but the trend leading into the triangle is usually it's a bias, and there's very clearly an uptrend leading into this triangle. So this pretty much is 60% chance to break up, 40% chance to break down, purely based on the pattern. But with the geopolitical situation and the whole macroeconomics, I think this will probably more have a statistical chance of 80% to break to the upside. What we do want to see is a breakout, probably get rejected at the 80, backtest this triangle, and then break that 80 level. So that 80 level is very, very important number to set an alert on. If Bitcoin decides to take the plunge, this will definitely be something I will be moving my funds into. You can trade it on FTX as tokenized stock, so that is very easy. And we did make like 20% trade on this stock when the whole shit broke out there. So it's looking good. Trend is still strong, but not in overbought yet. We see the trend momentum is following the triangle perfectly, so no crazy divergences that could lead us to believe otherwise. On market hyper, we are slowly forming a nice trigger wave there. And on the daily scale, that's pretty significant. So definitely a hedge to watch out for. Quickly going to lower time frames to see what's happening. Yeah, we are failing to break this resistance here, and we are trying to break through support there. We did exit oversold, but on the lower time frames it does look like we could take a bit of upside, maybe do a final retest of these levels again. That would be almost 0.75%, 74 base points up. Could make a bit of an ascending triangle. But as long as we don't break and confirm this level here and we keep holding 42k, which we are again, surprisingly. A very tight range. And very tradable range also on the lower time frames. Let's go one step down. Bit more clear picture here. We had that weird double topish potential head and shoulder that didn't really work out yet. It got rejected here. There's very strange patterns here on the low time frame. Pretty squeezed also. Just watch this zone and wait for a confirmed breakout in either direction. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think even 42k is the real number here. Oh, come on. So as long as we're in this zone, it's a no trade zone, and the longer we go sideways, the more unreliable all the oscillators will become. So wait for this zone to break with confirmation, either huge volume or a break, hook back, test the previous levels and go in either direction if you want to take a trade. Yeah, not much more to talk about. Let's monitor the stock markets. They will probably predict the direction of Bitcoin. Obviously, we are all hoping that Bitcoin will decouple from that stock market and go its own way. But it's not something. It will happen one day, but we don't know when. Could be today, could be in a year's time, could be in 10 years' time, who knows. Anyway, safe trading, take care, and we'll see you around for the next live stream or in the private channels if you're a VIP member.